Welcome to the first ever episode and more to come of Unmasking Me, the podcast where we dive deep into life's big questions, uncover our true selves, and find peace in the process. I'm your host, Michelle, and today we're going to talk about something that we all deal with, yet often struggle to accept it. That's impermanence. It's the idea that nothing in life stays the same forever, that people come and go, relationships shift, jobs change, and even our bodies transform as time moves forward. Life is a constant flux. This is a fact that we all know, but accepting it's a whole different journey that when we come to accept it, it should come from within. Today's episode is all about finding peace in impermanence. We'll talk about what it means to truly accept that things are always changing, how to let go of resistance, and how to embrace this flow with a sense of peace and even gratitude. My hope is that you'll feel a little lighter, a little more at ease with life's inevitable changes. Let's start with the basic. What exactly is impermanence? I define impermanence as everything in life is in transit. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is permanent. I read this somewhere that every moment of our existence is a kind of a river, constantly flowing, constantly moving. Everything from our thoughts to our physical environment is subject to change. Think about it. Every breath you take, every second that passes is a sign of this movement. Let's take it on a practical level. This can be tough to accept. We form attachments to people, to things, to ideas of how life should be. We invest emotionally in jobs, in relationships, and in goals. When these things change or fall away, it can feel like a loss of control or even betrayal. But what if we could shift our mindset? What if instead of resisting the flow of life, we could learn to move with it? A lot of our suffering comes from clinging to things we wish would stay the same and rejecting things that disrupt our sense of stability. The more we resist the natural ebb and flow of life, the more we create friction, tension, and suffering. Okay, think of it like this. Imagine you holding onto a rope that's being pulled in the opposite direction. The tighter you grip, the more your hands hurt, right? That's kind of what happens when we try to hold on to things, people, moments, or feelings that are naturally moving away or moving on. But what if instead of clinging to the rope, you simply let go? It doesn't mean giving up on things you care about. It just means recognizing that change is inevitable and that it's part of cycle of life. When we let go of that need for things to stay the same, we open our lives to new experiences and new growth. Think about it. Now, this does not mean that you have to be indifferent or detached from life. No. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When we understand impermanence, we can actually live more fully in the present of the moment. We stop taking things for granted because we know they won't last forever. For instance, relationships. Some relationships are temporary, but that doesn't mean or that does not make them any less valuable. Maybe you have had friendships or romantic relationships that ended sooner than you wanted, and it's easy to focus on the pain of their departure. But what if we flipped that and focused on the happiness you shared while they were in your life? Could it cause you any harm? What I'm about to do is not to make you sad, but just to reflect. Take a moment to think about a person or an experience that is no longer in your life. What good memories do you have of them? What lessons do they bring? When you start focusing on the positive impact instead of the loss, you can begin to find peace in their absence. In fact, their impermanence becomes part of what makes them special. I know now the bigger question is, how do we get better at embracing change? How do we find peace in impermanence? We have to acknowledge that resisting change is what brings the most suffering. The more we try to hold on to things, whether it's a job, a relationship, or the idea of who we are, the more anxiety we feel when life moves in a different direction. So, one practice that can help is mindfulness. When you live in the present moment, you're not preoccupied with what's going to happen tomorrow or stuck in what happened yesterday. You're simply here, appreciating the now, just as it is. You stop worrying about what's going to change because you're fully immersed in what's happening right now. Another thing I'd say, self-compassion. When we experience loss or change, we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to be kind and patient with ourselves. It's okay to feel sad when something ends. It's okay to grieve the loss of a job or a relationship. But instead of getting stuck in those feelings, recognize that it's part of life's natural rhythm. Be gentle with yourself during the. I'll give you a greater example of impermanence, because we may be thinking that practicing impermanence is a difficult thing to do. Nature is one of the greatest teachers of impermanence. Think about the seasons. In spring, everything blooms, and in fall, the leaves fall away. The trees do not cling to their leaves, and they don't resist when winter comes. They simply exist in harmony with the cycle of life. We can learn from this, take a lesson or two. We can observe the changes in our lives as natural seasons of growth, loss, rebirth. Yeah. The end of something does not mean failure. It simply means that a new beginning is on the horizon. In the end, finding peace in impermanence means realizing that everything, both good, bad, will pass. Change is inevitable, but it's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. When we stop holding on so tightly, we make space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new connections. And through it all, we find a sense of peace that's not dependent on things staying the same, but on our ability to move with the flow of life. Let's do a brief reflection. So from where you are, either seated, standing, going to work, doing cleaning, I'd want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Now think of something in your life that's changing or has changed recently. It could be a relationship, a job, or even a small change in your routine. Notice how that change makes you feel. Now bring to mind the positive aspect of that change. Maybe it's a lesson you learned or a memory you'll cherish. Maybe it's an opportunity to grow or to let go of something that no longer serves you. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, release the need to control that change. Let go of any resistance. Trust that life will bring what you need next. You're resilient and you can find peace no matter what changes comes your way. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Unmasking Me. I hope you found some clarity and peace in this conversation about impermanence. Change is never easy, but it doesn't have to bring you suffering. Let's learn how to flow with life's natural rhythms and live more fully, more peacefully, and with a deep appreciation for the beauty of each moment. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And don't forget to stick around for more deep dives into life's greatest question. Until next time, remember, everything is temporary, and that's what makes life so beautiful.